Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM News 10 at 10, where we give you more news in less time. I'm Mark Hanrahan. Let's get started. Spokane County Prosecutor Larry Haskell apologizing and trying to distance himself from racist comments his wife made online. Last week, the Inlander reported that Leslie Haskell called a black woman the N-word and boasted about being a proud white nationalist. New tonight, KREM 2's Kyle Simchuk is looking into the hateful comments and the reaction they are now getting. Kyle?
Well, Larry Haskell holds a very powerful elected position. He sent out a statement saying he does not share his wife's views, nor does his office. A Spokane Human Rights Commissioner we talked to says he wasn't surprised to see Ms. Haskell use the N-word because it's not the first time she's made racist comments.
Looking at Leslie Haskell's verified account on Gab, an alternative social media network popular with conservatives and extremists, you'll see cute animal pictures and posts about God. But scroll through her comments, and it doesn't take long to find hateful posts against Muslims, members of the LGBTQ community, and African Americans. As first reported by the Inlander, Haskell commented on a New York Post story titled, MSNBC's Joy Reid, conservatives would trade tax cuts to openly say the N-word. Haskell replied, quote, she is the true definition of the N-word. Haskell typed out the full slur. She also used the word online last August. In another post, Haskell boasts about being a proud white nationalist. She's also posted about how the white race is dying and that people need to make more white babies.
Knowing that she feels that it's appropriate to call a well-respected journalist and attorney is quite offensive to me and the rest of the community that believes racism should not belong in Spokane.
Spokane Human Rights Commissioner Anwar Peace says Haskell's comments are outrageous but not surprising. Back in 2015, Haskell said she doesn't trust Muslims no matter what.
Her statements and what she has said in totality indicates that she does not like people of color or anybody that's different than her.
Haskell has also bragged online about her husband being the county prosecutor, saying, quote, he's the last line of conservative armor Spokane County has. Larry Haskell is up for re-election this year.
He's got to address this in a more non-lawyer-like manner. How about being a human, Larry? How about addressing the fact that your community here is hurting because of your wife's statements?
Larry Haskell posted a statement on the prosecutor's website saying he does not tolerate racial bias or discrimination in any form, apologizing for his wife's comments, saying in part, I want to strongly reassure everyone that what was expressed in the Inlander and my wife's comments are not my views, nor the views of the prosecutor's office, nor should they ever be.
And Sheriff Ozzie Knezovich is quoted in the Inlander saying he hasn't seen the recent posts, but has talked to Larry Haskell and his wife about them in the past, calling them totally inappropriate. Mark.
I believe this bill will strike a much-needed, balanced approach that provides our law enforcement the tools they need to keep our community safe, while retaining the important principles of police accountability that were passed last year.
Also new tonight, Spokane Mayor Nadine Woodward testified before the Law and Justice Legislative Committee. She testified in support of a Senate bill that would revert the standard for law enforcement making a stop to use reasonable suspicion rather than probable cause. Mayor Woodward says she thinks the bill would provide a clear definition of use of force and the ability to use reasonable force when someone is suspected of having a dangerous weapon. New information, police have arrested a fourth teen who escaped out of the Echo Glen Children's Center last week. The teen was arrested in Kent this afternoon. Today, the King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office filed charges against 4 of the 5 teens. A charging decision for the 15 is expected next week. All right, let's talk weather now here locally. Want to get out to meteorologist Thomas Patrick in the Outdoor Weather Center tonight. Thomas, already a chilly one out there at 24 degrees I'm seeing, but it's just going to keep dropping from here, right?
That's right. And as skies clear up during the overnight hours, we will lose that any kind of blanket of cloud cover, allowing for those temperatures to free fall. So instead of being stable in the 20s like the last couple of nights, we will dip well into the teens. And for some of you, it will be in the single digits by the time we hit sunrise at tomorrow morning. Even the slightest breeze, by the way, putting the wind chill at 15, so that is what it feels like as of the 10 o'clock hour. The expected low temperatures about 10 in Spokane, 9 in Coeur d'Alene. You basically see single digits all across the northern tier of the inland northwest. And again, you factor in even a small wind, even if it's 5, 6, 7 miles per hour, our wind chills will probably be closer to 0, if not a couple degrees below that 0. So again, very cold for tomorrow morning. Not the coldest we felt all year, but certainly a bit of an Arctic stretch of weather. Short-lived, and we'll be tracking a little bit more snow. We had some snow showers today, but more prominent snow on the way, at least on 2 of the evenings for this week. So we'll show you that in a few moments.
Looking forward to that, Thomas. Thank you very much. Now to the Night Beat with a quick look at the day's top stories. Today, the Freeman community continued sharing how that deadly school shooting back in 2017 changed their lives.
The bullets flew towards my room, and he ran out of bullets just outside of my door. In fact, I know that he tried to shoot Emma a second time as she was entering my room.
This morning, a Freeman High School teacher told the judge what he witnessed just moments after the first gunshots were fired on the second-floor hallway. One teacher says he heard several loud pops, then the thunder of student footsteps and screaming. He secured his classroom with several students inside. In about 5 minutes, we'll hear more about his perspective from the day of the shooting.
It was just some random thing. It's not a hate crime or anything like that, or there's anything related to that, but except just, a stray bullet.
An update now on last night's breaking news. A stray bullet came through the door at the Best Asian Market in the Sprague Union District. When police arrived there last night, they found a bullet hit a bag of rice. Well, the manager there, Tom Chu, says he wants customers to know that they should not be afraid, and he explains the shooting was not targeted and that the area is safe. No one was hurt. Meantime, if you have any information, you are encouraged to call Crime Check. You can find that number on KREM.com. The man arrested for a South Hill shooting last week was supposed to appear in court this morning. The court scheduled 65-year-old Gary Cottrill for an arraignment at 9:30 this morning, but he didn't show up. You might remember he is the suspect who allegedly shot someone in the face after that victim confronted him about slashing tires in the neighborhood. Well, his counsel told the judge Cottrill was not able to make it for medical reasons. The judge rescheduled the arraignment for 1 week from today. Washington Attorney General Bob Ferguson's office filed a lawsuit against a company alleging invalid and false tests and billing the government for $124 million. The Center for COVID Control has been running nearly a dozen testing sites all across the state, and the AG filed a lawsuit yesterday stating the company improperly took patient insurance information and provided invalid COVID-19 test results, or at times, no results at all. State Attorney General Bob Ferguson says staff with the Center for COVID Control said they were instructed to lie to patients daily. And that was your Night Beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just text us the word night to 509-448-2000. We'll send them directly to your phone. Well, the owners of the Bellevue home destroyed in a landslide 2 weeks ago are being sued by the city. They are working to reach an agreement that allows them to access their things during the demolition process. And that's been the back and forth since the home belonging to John and Barbara Surdy slid off its foundation after a water main break and landslide now 2 weeks ago. Court documents indicate the Surdys have not been responsive to requests, and the city says they've made consistent efforts to work with them. Well, now the city wants a judge to speed up demolition of the home, saying it's a danger to people and also to neighboring homes. Tonight, tensions continue to grow on the border between Russia and Ukraine. This comes as more U.S. military equipment arrives in Ukraine. Russia's Vladimir Putin discussed the conflict, saying the U.S. was trying to contain Russia, explaining, quote, Ukraine is just a tool, unquote. Now roughly 100,000 Russian troops are stationed on the border, although Moscow insists they have no plans to invade Ukraine. Tonight, thousands of people have not been able to return home after evacuations in North Carolina because of a fire at a nearby fertilizer plant. That fire started in Winston-Salem last night. The estimated 6,500 evacuated were within the 1 mile radius of the plant. This comes after officials worried about a potential explosion due to the chemicals at that site. Well, one student is dead tonight, another in critical condition after a shooting outside of a school near Minneapolis. Both victims were found shot on the sidewalk near the front entrance of South Education Center in Richfield. Police have since arrested 2 suspects, and they say they're not looking for any others. And take a look at this. A British Airways plane attempted to land at a London airport but had to abort due to strong winds. You can see the plane attempt to land right there. Those winds as high as 75 miles per hour coming from the North Sea. My goodness. And that was KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time. All right, don't go to bed just yet. Coming up in 2 minutes, we'll share the perspective of the Freeman High School teacher as he recounts the events of the shooting, what he witnessed just moments after the gunfire. And later in the broadcast, Spokane City Council member Jonathan Bingle has officially been censured by the City Council. We'll explain what that means. We're back in just 90 seconds.